you still up? You should be sleeping. I swear, if your parents come home and they get you awake, I'm gonna be in big trouble. Oh, okay. They usually read to you. Okay. I can do that, of course. Of course. I love to read. Where's your books? I see. Okay. Oh, I used to have this book. This is the book my mom used to read to me. I didn't even know they still made it. Oh, yours looks pretty old too. Maybe it's your mom's. Of course, no, I'll read to you. I'm just making an observation, that's all. Old books are good. Okay, let's see. Bedtime stories for girls. This used to be my favorite. Yeah, my mom used to lay with me and read all the stories. I'm sure her arms were probably extremely tired after holding this giant book. So, which story do you like best? Okay, that was my favorite story too. Let's find it. The Lonely Mermaid. Did I ever tell you I wanted to be a mermaid? Yeah, I always wanted to be one. Okay. Can you see? Okay, you want to close your eyes, okay. The Lonely Mermaid. There once lived a mermaid named Miriam who was very lonely. All day long, she sat on a rock, combing her long yellow hair and singing to herself. Sometimes she would flick her beautiful turquoise fishtail in the water and watch the ripples spreading far out to sea. Miriam had not always been lonely. In fact, she used to have a pair of playmates called Octopus and Dolphin. Octopus had gone off to another part of the ocean to work for the Sea King. He was always much in demand because he could do 8 jobs at once, one with each arm. Dolphin, meanwhile, had gone away to teach singing in a school of dolphins. Miriam once thought she heard his lovely song far away across the ocean, and she hoped in vain that he might come back and play. One day, Miriam was sitting on her favorite rock as usual. "How lonely I am," she sighed to her reflection as she combed her hair and gazed at herself in the mirror. To her astonishment, her reflection seemed to answer back. "Don't be lonely," said a voice. "Come and play with me." Miriam couldn't understand it at all. She peered into the mirror, and then she saw, behind her own reflection, another mermaid. She was so startled that she dropped the mirror and her comb and spun around. Miriam was puzzled by the sight in front of her, for there, sitting on the next rock, was another mermaid. And yet, she didn't look like a mermaid in many ways. She had short, dark, curly hair and wore a strange costume that definitely wasn't made of seaweed. When Miriam looked down to where the mermaid's fishtail should have been, she wanted to burst out laughing. For instead of a beautiful tail, the other mermaid had 2 strange limbs, like an extra long pair of arms stretching down. other mermaid, who was really a little girl called Georgie, was equally amazed by the sight of Miriam. She had seen pictures of mermaids in books before, but now she couldn't quite believe her eyes, for here, on the rock beside her, was a real live mermaid. Isn't that awesome? Oh, I always wish to find a mermaid. For a moment, they were both too astonished to speak. Then they both said at once, "Who are you?" "I'm Miriam," said Miriam. "I'm Georgie," said Georgie. "Let's go for a swim," said Miriam. Soon the two of them were in the water, chasing each other and giggling. "Let's play tag along the beach," suggested Georgie, and started swimming towards the shore. She had quite forgotten that Miriam would not be able to run around on dry land. Miriam followed, though she was rather afraid, as her mother had always told her not to go near the shore in case she got stranded. Georgie ran out of the water and up onto the beach. "Wait for me," called Miriam, struggling in the water as her tail thrashed about. Then, to her astonishment, something strange happened. She found she could leave the water with ease, and looking down, saw that her tail had disappeared, and that in its place were two of those strange long arm things, like Georgie's. What's happened?" she wailed. Georgie looked round. "You've grown legs," she shouted in amazement. "Now you can play tag." Miriam found that she rather liked having legs. She tried jumping in the air, and Georgie taught her to hop and skip. "You can come and stay at my house, but first I must find you some clothes." See, she's naked in seaweed. Said Georgie, looking at Miriam, who was wearing nothing but her long yellow hair. "Wait for me." Georgie ran off, and soon she was back with a t-shirt and shorts. Miriam put them on. They ran back to Georgie's house together. "This is my friend Miriam," said Georgie to her mother. "Can she stay for tea?" "Why, of course," said Georgie's mother. "What's that strange thing?" whispered Miriam. "It's a chair," said Georgie. She showed Miriam how to sit on the chair. All through tea time, Miriam watched Georgie to see how she should eat from a plate and drink from a cup and saucer. She'd never tasted food like this before. How she wished she could have chocolate cake at home under the sea. After tea, Miriam said, "Now I'll show you how to do something." Taking Georgie by the hand, she led her down to the beach again. There, they picked up shells, and then Miriam showed Georgie how to make a lovely necklace from shells threaded with seaweed. While they made their necklaces, Miriam taught Georgie how to sing songs at the sea. Soon it was bedtime. "You can sleep in the spare bed in my room," said Georgie. Miriam slipped in between the sheets. How strange it felt. She was used to feeling water all around her, and here she was laying in a bed. She tossed and turned, feeling hotter and hotter, and couldn't sleep at all. In the middle of the night, she got up and threw open the window to get some fresh air. She could smell the salty sea air, and she began to feel rather homesick. Then she heard a familiar sound from far away. It was Dolphin calling to her. The noise was getting closer and closer, until at last Miriam knew what she must do. She slipped out of the house and ran down to the beach in the moonlight. As soon as her toes touched the water, her legs turned back into a fishtail, and she swam out to sea to join Dolphin. The next morning, when Georgie woke up, She was very upset to find that her friend had gone. When she told her mother who Miriam really was, her mother said, "The sea is a mermaid's true home, and that's where she belongs. But I'm sure you two will always be friends." And indeed, from time to time, Georgie was sure that she could see Miriam waving to her from the sea. And that was The Lonely Mermaid. I think that's enough for tonight. You really should get to sleep. Okay? I'll be in the other room, okay? If you need me, just holler. Okay? You have to actually close your eyes.